Shabbat Shalom, everyone, on this auspicious Shabbat. We are so delighted for those here in the sanctuary, in the synagogue, and for those at home joining us. A special excitement for Cordelia and all of Cordelia's clans here and at
Recording
home,
in progress.
ready to join us in this service. That's the last time we'll hear the tech talking to us. So we are going to begin our Friday night service, as we always do, to ease in from the week that we've had, which I think for those of us living here in the UK has been quite a tumultuous one. You'll never forget the week of your bat mitzvah, Cordelia. We are going to begin with Shalom Aleichem on page 76. To light candles with your grandma, who has traveled over from the US. We're so happy the planes were working. You're here. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. You can leave it on the side. Cordelia, you've now ushered in your bat mitzvah weekend. So let us go to sing Yodid Nefesh, continue to settle ourselves into Shabbat. Page 78. Let's turn to the last of the Shabbat songs to ease in to our Shabbat weekend. L'chadodi, page 91. And if we regulars stand for the last verse, facing the door, welcoming latecomers and the last vestiges of Shabbat coming in. You to stay standing. There is a little more complex choreography. We're on page 92 as we go into the Baruch Hu, our public call to prayer. Sit down. As we go into the two blessings before the Shema, the first we'll just offer the end that blesses the natural world, the passing of seasons of day and night. Ma'ariv yom u'mevi laila, u'mavdil ben yom u'ven laila, Adonai tzvaot shema, Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. We praise you, O God, whose word makes evening full.
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
So the next paragraph is about truth, and it's slightly different to usual. True and beautiful and good, sound, established and enduring are these words, now and forever. True it is, eternal one, that you are our sovereign God and Redeemer, as you were the God and Redeemer of our ancestors. You are our Maker, the rock of our salvation. We have known you always as our helper and our liberator. There is no God but you. Truly you are the first and you are the last. We have no Redeemer but you. You have redeemed us from Egypt and freed us from the house of bondage. Then, with great joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you this song.
כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל Yisrael. Now we offer Hashkivenu, our evening prayer, for peace, for Shalom Bayit, for protection from sickness, war, famine, and distress. And we have offered it with particular poignancy these last weeks of the war in Ukraine, and offering our prayers and hopes. Praise you, O God. May your sheltering peace descend on us and all who dwell on earth.
Please stand. Adonai siftav tifta ufi yagid tehilatecha.
Adonai siftav tifta ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai siftav tifta
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanocha El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim Vekoneh Hakol Vezocher Hasdei Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב לא הושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל. In your love you sustain the living, in your compassion you grant us eternal life. You support the falling, you heal the sick, you free the captive, keep faith with those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, source of all strength? Who is your equal, sovereign author of life and death, whose will it is that goodness shall prevail? Trusting in you, we see life beyond death. We praise you, O God, source of eternal life. Kadosh ata v'nora shamecha ve'ein lanu Eloah mibaladecha. Baruch ata Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. Let's sit down.
בראשית ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, ברית עולם.
Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel. In your love, accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. We praise you, O God, whom alone we worship in reverence. And then we offer what Cordelia will be leading us in tomorrow morning, our prayer of gratitude, so that each of us, although we follow a liturgy, each of us is invited to think what we feel particularly grateful, appreciative for. I imagine that the Khan Whitford family are feeling it for Cordelia tonight. מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו, מגן ישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך, מספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך, שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, ולך נאה להודות.
Shalom Ava Yisrael Hasim Leolam. Shalom Ava Yisrael Hasim Leolam. Shalom Ava Yisrael Hasim Leolam. Shalom Ava Yisrael Hasim
Baruch atah Adonai oseh hashalom. Let's take a few moments for silent prayer, reflection, taking stock of our week, our world, our country, our bat mitzvah. So we come back together with Yehiyu Ratzon, page 102. So our custom in our synagogue is that our bar bat mitzvah, tonight our bat mitzvah, will share her words that she has created and written about the Torah portion tomorrow, about becoming bat mitzvah, and to share it with you on Friday night as well as tomorrow morning, Shabbat morning.
Shabbat Shalom and welcome.
Shabbat Shalom.
I would like to start by thanking everyone for coming today, especially my grandparents from America who travelled all the way to England to be here, and my grandma Janet who travelled from Suffolk. I would also like to thank all of my other relatives and family friends who have travelled as far away as the Isle of Man, Manchester and Bristol to be here, as well as our friends from much closer. I appreciate your support. I would also like to thank John, my amazing bat mitzvah tutor, for all of the hard work he's put in to help me prepare for today, as well as Rabbi Rebecca. Finally, I would like to thank Zoe and all of my great Ivriat teachers. I've been a member of FPS since I was 6 years old. It is a very welcoming community where boys and girls are expected to do the exact same for their bar and bat mitzvah. This is one of the things I love most about it. No one is ever excluded. Coming to synagogue on a Saturday has been a part of my weekly routine since year 1. I'm the first of this generation in my family to have a bar or bat mitzvah. My dad grew up in Shaker Heights, a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. My grandparents, Susie and Ron, still live there, and so do my auntie Nicole and husband Mark, and their cat Ellie. We still visit them every summer. My dad has his bar mitzvah in their local synagogue, and Nicole her bat mitzvah there too, and my grandparents still go there today. I'm sorry my Aunt Nicole was not well enough to join us today, but hopefully she is watching on the live stream. One of the reasons I am happy to have a bat mitzvah is that I feel connected to my family's Jewish heritage. My mum has supported us in our involvement here at FPS, and when she can, she comes. Interestingly, my grandma Janet's grandfather was Jewish and from Poland, and he came to England in the 1890s. When we have a bat mitzvah, we don't just read or chant. When we have a bat mitzvah, we read or chant a portion of the Torah, like the rabbi does every week. I will be reading from one of our synagogue's Czech scrolls. These Torahs once belonged to the Jewish communities in what is today known as the Czech Republic. Jews in these areas were forced to surrender these items on orders of the Nazis in the early 1940s. After the war, when the communists took over the country, they were stored in a ruined synagogue outside of Prague until being discovered in the 1960s and brought to the UK in 1963, where they were lovingly restored. I feel very honoured to be able to read from one of these scrolls, which connects me to the Jewish heritage of life in Europe that thrived before Nazism and communism, and honours the terrible persecution those Jews endured for their faith. This Shabbat, my portion is called Balak. It is from the book of Numbers, which is the fourth book of the Torah. The children of Israel are currently in the desert for their long journey to what will be Israel, after having escaped from Egypt in the book of Exodus. They're a pretty impressive tribe, and here we see Balak, who is the king of Moab, getting scared by the strength of the Hebrew tribe. So he hires Balaam, who is the local prophet, to go and curse the children of Israel, to weaken them. Balaam takes on the job. However, God doesn't want Balaam to go and curse them, initially telling him not to, and then reluctantly letting him go. So, Balaam saddles up his donkey and sets off on the road to find the Israelites. But on the way, the donkey veers to the side of the fenced path and goes to graze in the neighbouring field, and avoids moving onwards. When Balaam manages to get the donkey back on the path, he hits her with his whip for misbehaving. After that, she ends up crushing his leg against the fence to show him she has no intention of going on. So Balaam hits her again. After that, the donkey lays down with Balaam still on her. So she gets hit for a third time. However, what Balaam can't see, which the donkey can, is that there is an angel of God standing in the path, blocking their way. The angel has a sword drawn, ready to kill Balaam, and the donkey is aware that they will be killed if they were to move forward. Then, as if a blindfold has been lifted from Balaam's eyes, he sees the angel. The donkey then criticizes Balaam for his treatment of her. In fact, she has not been bad, but saved his life from the angel. The angel then tells Balaam that he is still going to perform the curse. However, he will only be able to say the words the angel puts into his mouth. And in fact, when Balaam goes to speak the curse, he says words of blessing instead. Rabbis have interpreted this story as Balaam being the villain, because he is said to have no values and therefore just does things for money. However, he also performs a blessing on the Israelites instead of a curse, which is then later on remembered and praised. If there is a hero in this story, it's definitely the donkey, who keeps her morals throughout. The donkey is one of the only two animals that speaks in the whole of the Torah. The other was the snake, encouraging Eve to eat the fruit in the Garden of Eden. Eventually, with help of the donkey, Balaam's eyes are uncovered and he sees what's going on. This is like someone being oblivious to things happening in the world around them because they subconsciously do not want to see them. For example, people might choose to ignore issues going on, like poverty, because if they acknowledge them, it means they have to deal with them. Another message that can be taken from this passage is that it is not right to take people down because you fear they may be stronger than you, specifically manipulating them to get what you want, which is what Balak does through Balaam. I'm pretty pleased I got this portion. because, as some of you know, I'm pretty involved in the equine community, and in this story there is a display of animal cruelty. Today, hitting your animal to get it to do what you like or to punish it for misbehaving is not considered just. In this story, not only do we see the donkey is more wise than the man Balaam, in fact, God chooses to communicate with the donkey rather than him. We also get to see a comment on animal cruelty and why it is not right to strike an animal. In our synagogue, B'nai Mitzvah kids don't just prepare their service. They also think about how they can do something good in the world as well, to make a difference. This is called a tzedakah project. For mine, I have chosen to do a sponsored ride at Gaddison Estate. This means I get people to donate money for me to go horse riding. Then, the money raised is donated to charity, in this case, RDA. RDA stands for Riding for the Disabled Association. It builds facilities where people who are disabled get to come and ride a pony. This is an opportunity they would not otherwise get if it weren't for the amazing people who volunteer there. I hope I can raise enough money to really make an impact, as this is such a great charity full of amazing people. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yesha Koach. Fantastic, Cordelia.
Yes. Thank you.
Cordelia would illuminate the words of Torah, and she certainly did. So we're going to move towards the end of our service. So we get to have Kiddush together, blessing over the wine and challah, and to just gather together. But before we do that, we go to the prayer on page 520, Aleinu, that, as Cordelia says, reminds us of justice and ensuring that the world we live in and that we leave is in a better place after than the way we found it. So I'm going to ask you to stand for that on page 520.
Aleinu leshavia la leoseh bereshit asher sam elvinu yaged et shelo ve'or aleinu lehamid ma'atom ve'or aleinu lehamid ma'atom
Turn now to page 524. We're at the end of each of our services, I say this for all Cordelia's family. We remember those who have died and who need remembering at this time. We think particularly in our congregation this week of the deaths of Derek Phillips, husband of Tessa, and of Ron Rappaport, husband of Andrea, brother-in-law to Margot Katz, much loved and remembered in this congregation. We think also of the yard sites that fall in our community. Sheila and Harold Collette, parents of Andrea Collette, grandparents of Alexander, Ruth and Natasha. Alaric Cotter, partner of Bobby Hood. Audrey Jacobs, grandmother of Zoe Jacobs. Anne Tressman, Leah Butt, Reuben Vasera, mother of Janet Tressman. Morris Volk, father of Stanley. And this particular Shabbat of Cordelia's bat mitzvah, the Khan Whitford family also remember beloved members of the family who probably would have loved to have been here this weekend. Cordelia's grandfather, Victoria's father, Christopher Whitford, Cordelia's great-aunt, Shirley Braybrookes, and Cordelia's great-grandmothers, Margot Khan and Emily Ettinger. Zichronam livracha. May all their memories be for a blessing, and may those who recall and remember their loved ones be comforted in their loss as we say the words of the Kaddish together. Yitkadav v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Bi'amad divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'hayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayei dochol Beit Yisrael, Magala v'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mavorach le'olam amel maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ah v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitada v'yitaleh v'talal shmei dekudusha brichu. Leila min kol bechata v'sherata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da'amiram bi'ama v'imru Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya. V'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael. V'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael. V'yal kol b'nei Adam. V'imru Amen. Let's sit down. And I think, Kiddush is laid out at the back, but we're going to finish as we always do with the priestly blessing, but turned into a melody and a song for our children after Dean did it for his son. So you can follow this, if you would like, in the English or the Hebrew on page 540. I mean, it's extraordinary, isn't it? 563. So because folk at home are waiting to make Kiddush with us, and this is your moment to grab your wine, your whiskey, your vodka, whatever your gin and tonic, whatever you're making Kiddush over. So maybe it looks like the wine is coming forward, but don't get too excited. It's not delicious wine, our pal wins. And then stand, and Dean will lead us in Kiddush, and Cordelia and Gabriel will lead us in Hamotzi. Hold on, I'm going to bring this down so that everyone can see you doing it, right? Well, kind of let it be.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri ha'olam. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzah banu, v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'bratzon imchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit. Yom Tehillah, למקרא קודש, זה יציאת מצרים. קיוונו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. Amen. L'chaim.
Hi. I did give you grape juice, didn't I?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
That would be a very nice beginning of the weekend. Okay. Just take a few of these because we're not going to make that one. That's saving for tomorrow. Okay. So off you go, Gabriel. Just lift it up.
Hold it. Should we just...
Baruch
Baruch
atah
Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Now you can eat the challah. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. You have a good